Hey, thank you so much for listening. My name is Anna, and this is a undercurrent conversation with a dear old friend of mine named Anya Smolnikova. She is a prolific dancer, artist, facilitator, and today we are specifically talking about the group shake, which is something that we have been hosting here in North Carolina, but I wanted to give a little bit of information about where the practice came from, which for me is Anya Smolnikova. Um, in this conversation, we go into the lineage of group shake, what it is, where it came from, and then a little bit about a group shake workshop that's happening at the Field Center. The Field Center is a really cool artist in residency retreat center in Vermont that you can go to. You can check it out online and see all of the upcoming offerings. Anya is facilitating a drawing workshop and a group shake weekend long workshop at the end of March. Yeah, and in this conversation, we talk a little bit about what that experience is and what's coming. So if something in it sparks your interest, please reach out to me or to her directly or take a look at the Field Center website. Thank you so much for tuning into this. It's a new practice. Feels a little DIY, a little rough around the edges, but happy to be here and sharing information with you all.
Yeah.
I'd really love to share with people. We've been doing group shakes. We have 5. We've had 4 going on 5 group shakes. And they're just have been immaculate. People are coming and it's such I just feel so much joy that it's something that people are coming to and experiencing. And so for me, I really wanted to sort of touch in with you and hear your commentary on group shake and what it is for you and where it came from for you, like how you got to know it, what its lineage in your practice is. Yeah, because people often are like, where does this come from? And I'm kind of like, I don't know. For me, from Anya Smolnikova.
Okay, that's a pretty straightforward question, but
Yeah.
maybe not as straightforward of an answer. So
Yeah.
let's see what happens. Yeah.
Great. Let's go.
Um, so I would say there's at least 2 lines for me that I'll describe. One line is um, what I say at the beginning of the shakes when I talk about lineage. And sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't, depending on how much time we have and also the group. And often if I don't say it, I'll say, come to me and ask, and I'll talk about where I learned this and what this means for me. So, but when I do talk about lineage, I say, I learned this practice from Jared Williams, who learned it from Leslie Castellano, who learned it from Tove Salen, who was an artist working at Ponderosa, researching durational practices. That's like the short version. Leslie Castellano, I've met. Tove Salen, never met. I don't know who this person is. I mean, I know a little bit because I did some research on the internet, but from what Jared told me and from what I gathered a little bit, this person was working on dance and somatic work that had to do with club experiences, queer club experiences, or just club human experiences. I think both. They had 2 lenses on it. And the question was, what if we take away the music? What if we take away the club, like name club? What if we take away maybe even the lights, although sometimes we play with that, and kind of just left the durational, the timeline, the togetherness, and the repetitive, took away the dancing, the choreography, and what's left, that kind of a question. So that's how Jared told me the story. And that makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the names and the people of what group shake as like a group shake that lasts an hour to a curated playlist and has kind of a club vibe. But specifically, I think we used to say, I don't say it as much anymore. It's almost like not necessary because the people are changing. And, but I would say, like, we don't, this is not a dance party and you don't need to have choreography, but maybe something about the times and where people are at that it's like people or the people that I'm seeing, they're just like, yeah, let's just get down to business. And like, they don't need to be like, oh, I'm not doing this for an hour. But if they're doing this for an hour, honestly, like, whatever, that's great. So I used to say, which I learned from Jared, which at the time was necessary. I know, sometimes people would kind of lose attention to say that it's based on all this dance club research, but it's not a dance party. So what's left? Focus, durational attention, listening to your. So that's the one line. The other line is for me personally, it makes sense in my own research holding space. Um, I, Sometimes I say this to myself or others, but like uh, as who I am genetically or my where I am indigenous to, shamanic practices are a thing. Eastern Europe, Russia, and growing up with both village life and all this stuff. And also, it's kind of like the truth is, it's like also I'm a very global child at this point, and a lot of this practices I grew up with because my mother was searching in the Soviet Union and in Belarus and then in the US, and now she lives not in the US, and it's like searching for these like healing group experiences that were so that for me that's also like on that path.
Mm.
um and it's something that brings a lot of different kinds of can bring a lot of different kinds of people together, which for me is important to be able to do that. And it can also be an intimate experience for a specific selected group of people, which is a thing it can be. Um, but especially during the Shake workshop as a public event, one of the magics I'm always looking forward to, I'm like, okay, who's going to show up? I hope it's like so wide of a range of people that get to overlap and learn about each other in this. And they all came because they're like, yeah, I need to like shake for a weekend. Um, and like share their humanity in that way. And then like over meals happen to talk about what is it like to be a 70-year-old person with this kind of life experience? Was it like to be a whatever 23-year-old person with this whole other kind of life experience? And I feel like the age and all other differing identities gaps right now from where I'm seeing out and in are like really big. And if ever there's a chance to have people share space, it's really cool. So I don't know. Those are like the two lines. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, and in my own, yeah, I found it for me. Well, I guess that's not really a lineage, but it's like it helps me.
Mhm.
It helps me heal. And I learned that that's a good compass for like offering something to others. It's like, oh yes, this direction, this direction.
Mhm.
But yeah, the official story. It's good. It's the names. Leslie Castellano lives in California. and you can look them up. And they brought it to Lion's Jaw, which was the fest. Of course, you know Lion's Jaw. Not of course, but you were there. Weren't you there?
I
Yeah,
never
you were there. Okay, so
went.
of course. I just was like, wait, it was a while ago. So Leslie did it at a Lion's Jaw, and then Jared started doing it, and then after that, kind of the pandemic happened, not that far after, and I was in Chicago, Jared was in Boston. He started doing online shakes, which was like a lot of people were like, yes, thank you. And I started doing some online shakes. A couple of other friends of ours also started doing them. So I think it kind of, that's one of the times it like rooted because it really worked. It's something you can really do together
Mhm. Of
online. Um, but of course, in person,
course.
it's very different. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you. That was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about what you think about as you build a playlist.
Oh, what a great question. Um, okay. Well, I usually make mine 1 hour because that seems to be the time for us that we can like fit in, but also it's long enough to have an arc. Sometimes 2 hours, so that's a little different animal, but like the 1 hour is the container that I'll kind of talk about to answer the question. Um, yeah, I mean, it's like a tiny practice, but it also, I do it kind of consistently. So it's also like big because I've been doing it for some years now. I think my first shake was 2017, and then I started offering them probably at 19 or 20, so whatever, 5 years now. Um, but basically, I think of an arc, and inside of the arc there could be waves, but there's like a flight or a journey. So it could be like an airplane. There has to be like takeoff and a landing. There doesn't have to be, but in this, how I'm building them for kind of like I can pull it out and lay it on any group of people. I mean, of course, you can try to experiment with the arc and start mid-fall or however you want to do it. But for this particular like nervous system um, tuning, I find that an arc works so that it doesn't start with a shock. It starts kind of slow. So usually I'll start slow or softer, or at least with a sense of humor. So it's not right away like something dark or something really loud, like something that kind of can enter the system.
Uh-huh.
And the humor or other elements, I often, let's see, I always, unless I recycle a playlist, which happens if it's like a last minute thing, if I just want to shake or last minute, but I make them custom for the group that I'm working with. And ideally, I have a few days with the group. Um, or not ideally, I always have a few days with the group, or it's like people I know. So I'll try to listen to things people say, or maybe like songs that people play. And I'll try to like really listen before the shake. So it starts before. And sometimes I'll, if something happened, like someone, like an event happens that everyone knows about or a lot of people know about, I'll try to see if I want to make a reference to it inside. So just make it like in the moment for the people involved. Um, but the the main measure or the main final, the beginning and the final kind of measure is just like this internal sensor of kind of how my body moves to the music. That's the main thing. Like, am I moving to it for this time because I'm also I'm going to be also going through it? Or am I like, no, this isn't it for right now? especially if it's a new song, I'll be like, okay, let's lay it over and see what, and I'm like, yes. There's like a yes, and then there's like a no, and then there's like a maybe. So I'll put the yeses and sometimes the maybes on, and then listen to it over a couple of times, remove the maybes and shrink it to 1 hour. Um, I try to have, I decide whether or not this is a word or a wordless, whether it's English or not English, like how much are we listening, what I listen to all the songs, to all the words, so that I know exactly, because it can really go straight in. So like pores can be really open. So whatever I'm giving them, I want to think really about like, is this like safe for people to take in? Not even safe, but like, is this the stuff? Um, and yeah, and if I feel like we need it or we can take it, not just take it, but yeah, if we need it, I'll try to turn up like the more difficult sounds, the more difficult, more dissonant, more darkness, somewhere usually in the middle. More darkness or more like just where just like drop down beat, like just hit him with the club,
Mm-hmm.
like, and then so that it can really just be like so like a climax. There's a climax somewhere, maybe multiple climaxes, depending on the occasion. Um, Yeah, and then I definitely think of it as like a soul journey or a mental journey or physical journey or however you want to say a journey, like a spiritual journey. I don't always say it to the people, but I think of it that way. Even if it's just the very shallow, not shallow bad, but like water can be shallow or like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Last playlist I made actually, I don't know if this speaks to my experience, to the fact that I've done this many, many, many times, so just a kind of habit, or the fact that I just have a lot of songs now because I have this like list that I'm constantly adding to. But the last playlist I made, which was for the January Jam, I made it, it put all the songs in order. I didn't change the order. I didn't remove or add anything. And when I was done exactly at 1.0, it just happened and I left it and it was really good and it was like one of my best playlists. So how much is it chance? How much is it like, oh, like this was like some kind of a grace or like an alignment? I think it's both. And there's like a magic to that, like 1.059. Or sometimes I'll make it less or more and also just allowance for that. Yeah, yeah, this one's 47 minutes, you know. Um, Not when I've promised an hour, that's different. And then, of course, there's like animal sounds, whales, whales and wolves are really good. It's important for me to remember about the whales. So, and their songs are so amazing. So just having that, like, we are deep in and the whales are singing, and also you have good speakers. It's such an opportunity to listen to like amazing sound. So I'll also think like, what is like really like, oh yeah, we get to like listen to sounds on a really good speakers. Like this is amazing. Wolves, of course, because they're also beautiful and related to whales, and often they'll do it in the pack. So there's like a recognition of our pack and their pack. I try to create textures sometimes by bringing in like church bells or other, not on like, just to, yeah, get us out of this is a playlist vibe, but really think about, I mean, sometimes I'll use NTS clips from the radio, but usually I'll put it at the beginning so that it can be a smooth transition. Um, it's really, yeah, if we have like DJ equipment, if someday I'll play with that. I mean, or ask someone to compose playlists. That's something I've been thinking about. But that's a little bit of a different project than just being like, I use Spotify. It's 1 hour. that's the score. The rest is like skills, intuition, and chance and luck and whatever else you're collaborating with. Yeah. And then for me and people that listen have been there before, there's also playing with like classic shake songs, which is like,
Oh.
it's sweet to even have that as an idea. But some people who've been known me or Jared or have been doing shakes for years now, there's like songs that they're used to hearing that would disappear. And then sometimes I bring them back to kind of weave in those experiences for them and for me. Like we used to always end with
What's
Sylvie,
that song? Oh, say it again.
like Sylvie, like bring me little water, Sylvie, bring me little water now, bring me little water, Sylvie, every little once in a while. It's this like beautiful song. I mean, this is like a folk song, but the specific track is, I have to look up who it is, but so we used to always put that at the end for like, I don't
Mm.
know, several years. And so now putting it at the end or putting it in the middle, or putting it at the beginning. And then like with me and Lily and there's like the tiny groups of people that have been doing it together for many years and how we decide to kind of almost like reverse times. Like, well, this is always the beginning. And it's like, yes, but now it's at the end. Like, what is that?
Are you familiar at all with the five rhythms arc?
Everybody tells
You,
me
you talked
about, not
about that?
everybody. Yes, I am like familiar because folks have explained it to me, but I haven't gone to it, and it feels like would be like it's almost like innate in me and in us, and I should go and just experience it or do it so that I can say, yes, I am. And here's
Yeah.
what I think about it, or not think about it. And yes, I am. And like I had this experience and like I added it to my experience bank. But no, I haven't. I just know there's like an
Yeah,
arc.
I'd be more curious for you to just sort of, I think maybe even there's text, just reading Gabrielle Roth's, I think that's the right name.
Okay.
Just her writing on
Mm,
I think it might be an interesting conversation, just not even to go to like ecstatic dance where that's mostly practiced or
yeah.
utilized, but just to read straight from her thinking on that would be.
I I should and I will. I think there's like some part of me that I um don't need to get rid of and I don't want to get rid of. And it's part of me also as an artist that I'm working with right now that like it's like no research, only experience.
Mhm.
Like let it emerge. Like don't taint it with any information.
Well, the
Because
practice
like
research.
yeah, yes, like because if it comes out and you build it out of experience, then you know that it's real and you know that it's true and you know that it's like so, but that's not at all against any research, including my own. It's just like I'm admitting to it's like a limit. I mean, it is a limitation, but it's also like a compass direction that is really functional. But if I sort of like am stubborn with it can be limiting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think at its extreme, as a just as an aside, like in my painter self, if I go all the way to the extreme of that while I'm not really making work, it basically says something like the only true thing to do to honor the whatever art is to do absolutely nothing. And that's like on a level, on a plane, it's true, but not on the plane of action.
Yeah.
If like the planes get confused, then you're like confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Or me, I'm confusing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm judging myself, but that's just someone's got to do it. I'm
Well,
just kidding.
I have a lot of questions about the practice of like how much to let in, like how much of the underscore or how much of the dancing, how like where how porous is it? And I think that there's no answer really, but it can move, but um even just energetically or kind of the knowledge itself, like I know what an underscore is, I know, I know what Gabrielle Roth's five rhythms are, so like that's a part of it in my own thinking, but then also how to keep the experience like as pure as it as a group shake is, like just this stripped awayness of it. But it is a question of like what is coming into this space, into this practice, um and when do I have set, the word boundary feels so strong for this. It's almost like unnecessarily strong, but what is the core of the practice, and when am I letting it be influenced by the rest of my life and my knowledge and my practices, especially when other people who have no idea what an underscore is like are in the space, or people. Yeah. um,
Yeah, can I ask you?
yeah, you can ask me.
Yeah, I guess the question is how's it going and what's it like with where you are and who's there,
Mm-hmm.
both together inside and how it relates to the outside.
Mm-hmm. I say it's going amazing. I look forward to it. I want more. Um, I've been organizing with a friend, M Liptow, I think is how she says her last name, who is an MFA student at Duke right now. And so we have had access. First, we had access to a space called Jubilee Music Hall, which has a sound system that's designed for like band music performance, and it's a church space, and the sound system is just like excellent. My one of my best friends set it up, and so yeah, that was really really satisfying. That for me in the choosing of the space, it's really important, the sound. I like won't do it if there's not like at least one subwoofer in the space. Yeah, it just makes such a difference. And then we have recently done them in a place called the Arc on Duke campus, which is this really beautiful, big open space that's very old. It has American Dance Festival has used that space, and so it's
Wow.
very full of dance. It's very full of history, and it's a gorgeous space. And we do it at night so far. I would love to do a day shake. And we set up just some simple colorful lights and then turn the lights really dark. um yeah, it's been, people have come, and it's just been such a focused, generous, nurturing space. This area has a really populated ecstatic dance community, also contact improv, but it's still sort of in its baby developments, or maybe like yeah, my friend Tony Craig has been slowly developing that field and that practice here. Do you know
Oh,
Tony?
I know Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, she's really cool.
Yeah.
Toni?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I met her once or twice and I really like loved her.
She's really built up the community
Ooh,
here, and so
that's cool.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And I have always been searching for a space that's sort of not ecstatic dance and not contact improvisation. I love going into dancing space where I get to focus on my body. I don't always love it when that has the possibility of being interrupted by someone coming up to me and engaging in a dance of some kind. And so I really was craving personally a space where I could just go and be with myself in the company of other people. And group shake really does that for me. It creates enough clarity in what we're doing that when I'm in the practice, a whole part of me gets to rest. And it's yeah, and it's so yeah, expansive, that practice for me. And so to have kind of a third place in the dance world, or a fourth, that's not a club, it's not contact, it's not ecstatic dance, and it's not social per se, really has been nourishing for me as an individual, and I think also for other people. For the most part, it's been queer people coming into the space. um we haven't advertised it as a queer affinity space. That's not the, like, I wouldn't say target audience. I think it is who we are as organizers.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously that has its influence. But yeah, the space has just been a great success. Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I have really loved taking on the practice of making playlists. It's a
Oh.
really, yeah, it's really added a layer to my daily lived experience that um I hope to keep doing. Yeah, sort of tuning in more deeply to the messages of songs,
Mm-hmm.
and like what they're really bringing, and to like really take time to listen to music with my whole body.
Mm-hmm.
It's like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's more than just like I'm shaking my body. It's for me personally has turned into a greater listening practice, um that I'm really grateful for as a person just
Mm-hmm.
trying to survive in this like really crazy world, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
I just um thought about how adding horse sounds was a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like wolves, horses, and whales.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, during the last shake workshop
First, will you
here.
say a little bit just about what a shake workshop is?
Oh, sure, yes. Okay, so the shake workshop um, is the name of a workshop that happens at the field center, has happened 3 times, and about to happen for the fourth time, I think. Fourth, not third, not fifth. Yeah, I think it's fourth. Um, that was an idea um, that me, Rose Cole Cohen, and Jared Williams all had at different times and said to each other at the same time during a few years ago. And Rose and I took on seeing if we can just took on making it happen. And it was just like, what if we, it was like, it was after a shake, and we were like, oh, like this is so good. Like, what if we did this more longer, not just once in a while, but over a period of time? And so we're like, what if we do this as a workshop, meaning for over a weekend at least? So, yeah, and Rose and I got together and created a structure that is basically or fundamentally the same now as when we started, although we leave ourselves and each other room to experiment with the tradition. Um, and the basic structure is from Thursday night to Sunday afternoon. Um, and it's 2 shakes a day. there's an evening shake on Thursday, then Friday morning, if evening or afternoon, Saturday, two shakes, and Sunday is a 2 hour final shake. So it's a total of 7 hours of shaking over the course of the weekend. Um, so that's the main goal of the workshop is like, or question, the main question or proposition, or just the what we're doing is shaking as much as possible. Um, and everything else around it is built to support that. So integration, either through rest, that's there's open time left to rest, and also constructed rest, like either yin yoga or specific kind of group nap setups. We did swaddling last time. We had a midwife who was here. And she actually left a little bit early because she was on call and went and delivered a baby and told us about it. And it was really cool. So integrative activities like rest will also teach movement to keep the body moving because the shaking is a very specific kind of motion. Although, of course, you can do so much with it, but um, other movement like expansion or rotation or a different kind of movement. So there's often an element of contact improvisation as kind of a developmental movement, and also like as a communal activity, because often in the shake, as you know, it's together but alone. So we try to integrate sometimes where it's smaller groups or one-on-one, some other kind of social weaving.
Mm. Mm.
So sometimes we'll even have little contact classes, and if there's enough people who have experience and others that are willing, we'll have even a jam at night as part of it.
Mm.
But we take that by the every workshop we see, if that makes sense. Yeah, then we'll do other durational practices like slow walking or backwards movement. Um, and we've been pairing movement, we've been pairing practices, so doing something and right after shaking, or shaking and then right after doing something. So like shaking into durational stillness, like doing the stand for a long time, or dancing into shaking, or shaking into, last time Rose led a performance score. So we went shaking into like group performance scores, which was really fun. Writing and drawing, so held kind of time to process feelings and time to just reflect. And and yeah, and then during the shake workshop, um, I teach a shake workshop. So it's the shake workshop inside of the shake workshop, which is a little bit, to me, it's like a little bit funny. There's like a joke inside of it, which is important. I think some humor is important for the shake workshop. Um, Humor as survival mechanism, um, as medicine. So the shake workshop is what it sounds like. It's basically together for an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, exploring different ways into finding rocking, shaking, swinging, exploring the anatomy of how the body can move, vibration all the way through. Uh, Often it takes time to reach a state of either just relaxation enough to actually allow the vibration to move through, working with circles, working with Jocelyn, and sometimes we'll work with shaking each other as the therapeutic body work, and also uh, like relationship building, community building. Um, and I'd like to do some more of that, more of shaking as offering shaking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then last thing I'll say to that question for now is that I've been introducing, both in my shake workshop and my drawing workshops, um, homework. And homework in this case means a really specific score, which is It's a daily homework assignment, and everyone's required to do it, but no one's going to check your homework. So it's kind of like that's another joke. But I do want to actually teach a class. I'm going to teach a class during the drawing workshop that's just going to be us doing the homework
Mm-hmm.
together. And the homework is
Okay.
3 equal times of, so for example, 10 minutes of walking outside, 10 minutes of writing or drawing, and 10 minutes of soft gazing,
I remember
which
this
is
homework.
okay. So that's the homework. Yeah. So I think the
Yeah.
homework class will be 30, 30, 30. Classic,
Mm-hmm.
but it works. And the soft gazing is good. Is good for shaking too, just to bring this kind of stillness, softness. And then we'll do CDP in the morning.
Mm.
Just kind of something that's almost like outside of the score of the workshop that keeps this like, oh, it's just us doing our thing as a group, and then we do this thing as students, but it's also like a soft, like not a trick in a bad way, but it's like a way to bypass certain social anxieties.
Mm-hmm.
So people get an identity as a group outside of them being a group of students by having like, it's our morning practice.
Yeah.
That's exciting to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the shake workshop.
Yeah. Do you have like dialogue and conversation built in? Is there?
That's a great question. Did we do that last time? Um, Not built in. The
Mhm.
meals is kind of when that happens, just because it is a limited amount of time. But, well, I think 2 years ago we did circles, morning circles. There was a time to talk.
Mhm.
I think it was after the writing to give people time to just write and then talk. And then I think after the sessions, there's always time to kind of talk. But how what when you asked that, was there something else, like another thought or a vision or something you had, like a dialogue built in?
Hmm.
Like,
I just am a person that, well, there's two people in me. There's the person that loves to talk about what is happening and hear what other people, and then there's the other part of me that absolutely hates doing that. But it's just yeah, I'm just curious if that.
actually, I remembered
Mhm.
an answer. Um, yes, it's a puzzle always
Mhm.
during facilitation building. When does this come in? Group dialogue, one-on-ones, talking to the people. And just I found this score to work. And I think I might have done it during the shake workshop. In fact, yes, I do remember Rose and I walking around. Groups of three, anywhere in the space, meaning like both studios and the library. Anywhere where we can all like no walls. No walls, but there's some room to spread out. 3 people. You can come up with some playful way of making those groups, either randomly or somehow by like shirt color, just something that it feels like a little bit of divination, just so people don't feel like just a little. And then timing like 5 5 5 or 10 10 10, and each person gets the same amount of time to speak while the other people listen.
Yeah.
And then it switches, and sometimes there's like a minute in between to oh, and I think the way I did it last time is listen, listen, speak, 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 and the fourth section is it's a time for the group, so the group can decide what to do with the last section. They can have a dialogue all together,
Mhm.
or they can use it again to speak, or however, yeah, and that seemed to work.
Yeah, to me it seems like there's some benefit to building in like small amounts of dialogue so that we're not just like traveling alongside each other, almost.
Yeah, that's a really big point. That's a really good point. Yeah. 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 Thank you for I'm just reminding me of that actually.
Yeah.
Because there's like the benefit of the alone together, but really, not really, not really, but and also
And yeah,
really. Yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah, but I think this like the threes kind of not kind of early-ish on,
Hmm.
so that later people can it's like easier to talk as a bigger group when there's like
Hmm.
sub connections.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And three is a crowd enough too that it's not one-on-one. There's like always four. You could do four or five, but three feels really intimate.
Hmm.
And so people can say some things that they maybe wouldn't say to four or five.
Yeah. Or even just one.
Yeah, three is also
The
like the
triangle,
three
yeah.
points.
30th.
There's no crossing. Yeah, no line crosses another. So it's like everyone's connected to everyone else equally.
Mm-hmm.
And with a square, you can do like a cross connection.
Or like a
Yeah.
mm, yeah.
And five, yeah, three and three, yeah, five. Yeah, four could become a leader in a group, but like I feel like five is when that tips the leader. I don't know. There was a moment of bunch like 10 years ago, I was like for a month, just like couldn't stop thinking about social geometry. And I was like, one, two,
Yeah.
five. It's written somewhere. Anyways, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, dialogue built in. I think those groups of three.
Or like a witnessing, there's even a difference between like built-in. I mean, I think dialogue will always happen, but built-in listening,
Yeah.
yeah, of that specific kind. I mean, I think the whole thing is built-in listening to a degree, but
And maybe we'll even do two of those. I feel like it's going to be really needed this time
hmm.
because people are feeling isolated. I mean, people are always feeling isolated. That's like part of our.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm speaking really generally. The people are
The
feeling
people.
isolated. Um, yeah, that's another like something that like a sanity, something like a live, like something live that you get to do, like something over time, and then goes through what's happening politically, what's happening environmentally, and you can kind of like have these, yeah, by like tuning in to what's happening everywhere and with the people, and then creating an experience that has to do with that. It's almost like a reality anchor for me,
Hmm.
for you, for the organizer, for the one that is listening.
Hmm.
And you're like, okay. Yeah, it helps it keep me like paying attention and sane and keep track of time.
Hmm.
Not keep track, but like move through time in a way that's like meaningful or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe we'll do it twice at the beginning and at the end, and maybe different groups or maybe same groups. But I think Rose and I are gonna have to decide that
Mm-hmm.
ahead of time or like during it and not tell anyone. So it's not like a like alliance anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. How many people are normally in the shake workshop?
I would say with like staff and everybody around 25.
That's amazing.
So yeah, but we'll see. I hope, yeah. I need to do a little more advertising.
Mm,
I'm a little out of gas in that department, although
that
I
makes a
really
lot of sense.
liked my poster that I made with Jared for the drift, the drawing workshop. I was like, I still got it. The
Yeah.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll do live music sometimes. We'll use shakers, like people shaking, making their own sound. I don't think we've done a silent shake, but we've talked about it. Like,
Yeah, I have started to build in more spacious moments into playlists. Yeah, thought about that. Try to yeah, sort of build in some more, yeah, spacious experimental kind of music that,
yep.
yeah, lets the room settle.
Honestly, get a shaker and a tambourine.
Yeah.
Like just honestly, just classic tools. They really work. Tr
Yeah.
like there's some tradition that's just like, and you're like, oh, the shaker.
Shaker. Yeah.
It helps with the shaking. Like, yeah, we did. I don't think we did this last year, but I think we'll do it this year. Is the last 10 minutes, maybe we did it, of the 2 hour shake is like there's a basket of shakers and eggs that I bought, like shaker eggs and also shakers and tambourine. And then I think I pre-asked a couple of people to be like the ensemble that's moving around the space, and then everyone can take whatever tools. And the last 10 minutes was just like music was over, and I started with I think I had a shaker or a tambourine, and then the two, three people that I pre-asked that agreed did it with me, and then we would move around the space, and others took it. So the last 10 minutes was like live,
Mm,
and that was really powerful.
wow, cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, great. I think to sort of go back a little bit to the beginning, what would you say to someone that's what do you say to someone that has never gone to a group shake, that's never done anything like that before, but is curious? Um, yeah, how do you invite someone into this practice?
Mm. If someone's like, I'm curious, I want to come, but I have question,
I'm
I have
scared,
reservation.
or but
I'm
I
scared.
don't
Okay,
do,
yeah.
I especially someone who's like, oh, I really only do that kind of thing alone in my
Privately.
car. Yeah. What do you
To
say to
a,
sort of help
yeah.
someone to
To a
bring
shake or a shake workshop, or it doesn't
it
matter.
to a shake?
Okay, let me think. Well, I mean, the first answer that came to mind is like, come and check it out. Like, I'll be there with you, and make sure, come on time. So you have some time to land. Bring some layers. Bring a water bottle. Um, the floor, well, depending on where you are, you could say tell the floor could be a little chilly, so bring some layers, but you might get really hot and sweaty. Maybe like electrolytes would be good. I would say just like talk to them as if they're already preparing,
Mhm.
and then just remind them to come early so that they can be there for the talk through. Um, yeah, and then just be like, I often say if something like that is asked, that you will be shaking yourself, so you can shake hard, you can shake soft. If people come for this, like, yeah, I guess this stuff I say once we're already in the space, about like how, and I'll usually show it on myself. Like, it can look ugly, it can look sexy, it can look small, it can look big. I'll talk about gaze, how we're like not looking to have direct eye contact, and how like our peripherally, which is where the soft gazing homework really helps, our peripherally awareness is with each other, and you need to go there if you're moving big so that you watch out for others, and need to go there, and you can always go there. And also, directly you can look, just not seeking something if you need inspiration, and just like that. But that's something I say already inside to, yeah, I just keep thinking of webs to
Mm.
like create that. And yeah, and I don't say this, I think I said this once, um, because Rose really was feeling like they wanted to explore God during one of the shakes and created a shake that was a lot of it. Actually, there's this, the band The Books. The Books. Oh,
Oh,
fun.
the
Okay.
books. Yes,
The
yes, yes.
Books, The Books, The Books.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow, high
So
school.
yeah, so they have this album that's like a lot of like repetition, and one of the songs is like it's like God, 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 and the Lord said, God, God. It's like quotes from sounds like it's quotes from a pastor, but it's just when the pastor says God or Lord, and it's just like
Oh,
this
wow.
amazing track. Yeah, and
I
then
love
there's
the
another
books.
one,
Yeah.
the Books, yeah, and it's like it's music, it's music. It's like 2 minutes of it's music, music. So yeah, and like I played that track and wrote during a shake, and Rose was like really thinking about it, and it's like the word God or the word spirit or the word tradition or the word religion. These to me are words that are really sacred and important, and the word sacred, important, and I feel conflicted feelings about them, about how to share them, about how to be with them, about if I should say it, like, and I have a feeling, and also in conversation that other people feel similar too, like we're kind of holding things, and like I don't want to like out myself as like spiritual, you know, and also it is a spiritual experience, meaning, what do I mean by that? It can be a spiritual experience because I feel like there's the architecture is built
Hmm.
for having this connection to yourself and the group and something bigger than you all at the same time, like the three, maybe more, but like coming together. And it's such an ancient practice that something in our, whatever we want to call it, genes or DNA or whatever, reacts. It's like, oh, it's this. Oh, sick. Okay. Like it's the people and we're doing the thing. And uh, just like we're together and we're shaking and there's like a tension and we're here for peace. Like that is a big one. Um, so yeah, God. I was talking. Oh yeah, God. Oh, God is in the periphery. I said this once during the God because we did a God shake and then we did a club shake and then the 2 hour shake that we did together, me and Rose. I did the club shake, Rose did the God shake. And then it was Baby God in the Club was the name of the final 2 hour shake. And that we were just like, Baby God in the Club. Like, so yeah. And I say this to myself, like God is in the periphery. Like, they say like devil's in the details or devil's in the corners.
Hmm.
Um, God is in the periphery, like, and something about peace also being in the periphery, like this
Hmm.
space is really important. So yeah. So something about the periphery and the shake.
Hmm.
Um, I really try to like when I remember this to use the shake as an opportunity for us to tune into each other's periphery, which there's a lot of human potential there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, obviously,
I love.
and
Well, I
also,
think a lot about peripheral vision.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's something that
yeah.
I, funny enough, just wrote a newsletter that I want to print out and send mail to people.
Oh,
Uh,
yay.
a no news newsletter, and I called it Peripheral Vision.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll send you one if you give me your address. I
It's the
have
field center.
it.
It's just the field center.
Yeah.
I made this painting that actually didn't make I made a maquette of a painting that I haven't made the painting yet, but I need to make it. But the painting, it's basically like two, well, okay, I'll have to make it to show you, but the concept is it's a really long painting and
Oh.
um and you kind of have to and like you can't go that far away from it. It's like in
Mm.
a place. So you have like the only way to look at the whole painting is through your periphery. It's like these kind of like these two soft blue spheres
Mhm.
with something. I forget what I put in the middle, but somehow it works. It was And then yes, it's like this like periphery paintings.
I love that so much.
Oh, I'll send you. I have,
Yes,
it's
yeah.
actually similar to this. It's like a big infinity sign.
Mm-hmm.
Not simply, there's something else. I'll have to find it. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. This is so fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the peripheral vision for me is like one of the quickest ways to tap into my nervous system.
Mm.
To like really communicate with my nervous system is
Mhm.
to like bring yeah, soften and widen my field of vision is like one of the fastest ways to calm myself down.
Yeah, right. Because it goes from just like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm going in. And you're like, okay, hold on. Good
Okay,
reminder. Okay.
less than a minute. Thank you so much.